Alright, so starting with a blank piece of paper, the scariest part. This isn't any sort of specific page size, I just do this so that I have a margin. It's just the width of my ruler. I've used that as a measurement for as long as I can remember. I was not very prepared when I started this painting. I'm like, oh, it's time to do that video I've been talking about, and I started drawing, and I'm like, I don't have an idea, so hopefully this turns out okay. I decided to draw my favorite girls from my webcomic, diving into a pool or a lake or, you know, some water. I always tend to draw Marshall like too heavy initially because she's actually so skinny. Sometimes I'm really uncomfortable drawing her. So anyhow, she's probably a little bit too fleshy here. Not that anyone but me would notice. So I'm a terrible drawer, and when I draw, I just pretty much go right to outlines. I don't do any framework or blocking out. And this is sort of part of my philosophy of like, draw once, accept your errors, and move on. And that's just how I've drawn for a really long time to try and improve my speed. Of course, the downside to that being sometimes my anatomy is just like unbearably bad. By the end of this painting, it's like, okay. You'll actually see me like watch when I'm working on Marshall's legs at various points. You'll see me like making the background squeeze in more to make them thinner because like I drew her with normal human legs for most of this painting. Okay, so this is a watercolor pencil, and basically once I had my lines done, I just start filling in the areas that I want to have different tones. It looks like I'm just scribbling on it because that's what I'm, there we go, Anne's got to have a floppier boob. Anyhow, so yeah, I'm just scribbling on it, and this is kind of me figuring out where my values will go. Now in like a good painting, I would normally plan a little more and actually have a vision for what I wanted to do, but because I'm just winging this, I mean, it's not as well designed a painting as it could be, but it was pretty fun to work on. You can see how areas I was penciling in more heavily, coming out more dark now, and this is just a water pen. It's a hollow pen you fill with water. You can also fill them with ink. They're really great to take on the go with you, and in the comments on the video, I'm going to list all the pens I used in case you're curious. Yeah, it's a little bit inconsistent when you're using the watercolor pencils. You kind of wind up with a streakiness in them. You can see that up at the very top of the page in Marshall's hair. Oh, and this is a really old water pen that I have. The bristles are completely shot on it, and I can't do anything fine with it, and it holds paint in a weird way. So you'll see along the top of the page there, I keep going back up there, and it's kind of to unload ink buildup. So by the end of this painting, the top of the page is like really, really ugly. It's been abused. That's not like a giant wart or a broken back or something. That is a bubble on Marshall's back, which I have to get like a better memory card for this camera that I'm using because the video cuts out before I'm done the painting, but only by a couple minutes, so you don't actually get to see that looks pretty good by the end, but right now it just looks like she's got a horrible mutation on her back. Yes, Marshall's famous hair, big and fluffy and taking up at least a third of the painting usually. Marshall's hair is a device that I like to use. Oh, here's pen number 3. This is similar to the water pen. It's like a big hollow plastic tube, but this is a ink pen, India ink, and it's just pure ink. It's nothing else really. So I'll use that with the water pen and, you know, fill in an area and then use the water pen to blend it. And it looks more faded in this video, but that's a really solid black that I'm working with there. It's like night black, super dark, inky black. And trying to pull the figures out more, making the background darker. I like doing this a lot when I have like white-skinned people, is having a dark background to make them really pop out. And of course they're in water here, so I can kind of be liberal and play around with it. Just use it as a big empty space. And I was thinking of like pool lights at the bottom of a pool and how it would be darker along the top and lighter at the bottom, so then Anne's hair becomes sort of an element where that's the darkest thing at the bottom of the frame. And Marshall's hair is the lightest thing at the top of the frame. Anyhow, considering I just like made this up, I think it turned out okay. Slowing down for a second here to do some details. Get the eyes, facial expressions, mouths. Yep, remember a little shade there. And here it's finally starting to look like something real. Not just a bunch of blobs, but you get to really see their shape. So, yep, get a little shade in there too. And I've sped this video up. I think it's 350%, which makes it just seem so easy. But there was a lot of pausing and, you know, thinking about things. And some of the finer details did take a lot of thought. And here I just forget that there's a camera behind me and stick my head in the middle of the drawing. You're welcome. I think I'm working on Marshall's expression here and more of her hair. My big head is in the way. Her arm just floating off into nowhere. And still trying to pull her legs out. Make them more obvious. Here I'm working on, I think, Anne's hair. And Marshall's hair is just so much fun. I can do whatever I want with it. Make it go everywhere. Probably weighs 2 million pounds, poor girl. Doot, doot, doot. Oh, there's the bubbles. And signature, and this video is going to cut out before I'm done, but I do actually have some acrylic white that goes on. But anyhow, Marshall's freckles take forever. That's it. All right. Bye.